Hi, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is the second episode or second session of Dow Entrepreneurial Network. I'm Dr. Ahmed Tawheed. I'm going to give my introduction later on with my co-host and co-moderator. But first, I want our president of Dogana, Dr. Amir Hassan, to please give everyone a brief introduction of what Dow Entrepreneurial Network is. So, Dr. Amir Hassan is the president of Dogana, and he's right here with us. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Aman. Thank you. Good morning, salam alaikum, good evening, good night, wherever you are in Pakistan or other parts of the world. Briefly, one of the purpose of DEN, Dow Entrepreneurship Network, is we as physicians are the major stakeholders in healthcare system. And since we have evolved differently as a physician, we have not been taught or engaged in teaching to be involved in the healthcare all the way from policy making to different aspect of businesses and things like that. So based on our prior experience, we are taking an effort to engage our younger Dawites, our already practicing Dawites to come on a forum to get learning from all the accomplished Dawites, not only in US, but around the globe. So I'm very excited that we have more than 100 participants already, especially on the weekend on Sunday. And I'm very thankful for our moderators and panelists to give time from the family for Sunday. Thank you. Back to you, Emin.
So I'll just give my brief introduction and then my co-moderator can introduce himself. I'm Dr. Aman Tawheed. I'm a Dow graduate of batch 2009, and I'm a clinical director of a specialized clinic for people with intellectual and developmental disability in Maryland, and my residence is Virginia. I'm a researcher, author, multiple interest. So yeah, thank you. Adil.
Thank you, Ayman. Thank you, Dr. Hassan. Thank you, everyone. Very briefly, Adil Ahmed from Dow 2005, practicing dermpath. Also, I'm a managing partner of Advantage Health, which is a healthcare M&A firm, and co-founded several health tech startups. One of them is MyDocs.ai and some others. And before that, I was in clinical practice mostly, and in derm and dermpath, and scaled, started, and sold two clinical groups operating in West Virginia. Looking forward to a great session, inshallah, and learning from everyone, from panelists, from audience. And I would say this that the essence of entrepreneurship is lifelong learning, and we all learn from each other. So really looking forward from learning from everyone and starting. Please, Emma.
So yeah, so before we dive in, I just want to highlight for the young physicians, especially who are looking into this path of entrepreneurship, that entrepreneurship is not just about business. So it's just about creativity, it's about courage, it's about solving problems in healthcare anywhere you see, and that matter to change people's lives. So it's not just we are talking about business here. We are trying to change the healthcare or bring ideas to change people's lives. It's about challenging yourself to dream bigger. So let's start with an introduction for the guest, and Adil can take from there. So go ahead.
Sure, thank you, Eamon. So I'm gonna have the brief introduction. First of all, Dr. Hina Faisal. She's an anesthesiologist, a surgical intensivist, an accomplished scientist with extensive experience in research. Dr. Hina is the director of surgery critical research at Houston Methodist Hospital, and she's also the founder of Recognition VR software, a virtual reality-based cognitive stimulation platform designed to support brain health in older surgical patients. Something very unique and something I'm very excited about learning more today. Then we have Dr. Ilyas Yamani. Dr. Ilyas is an accomplished entrepreneur and a practice owner. He's the founder and managing director of All Care Medical Consultants. He's the chief medical officer of Lifestyle Prescription University, medical director in value-based care of Access Healthcare Florida, and co-founder of Dawn Health. And Dr. Ilyas is also an expert in lifestyle medicine, something I really interested in myself too, and a certified coach in lifestyle medicine. And then lastly, we have Dr. Khalid Siddiqui. Dr. Khalid Siddiqui is an experienced physician leader with extensive experience in managing large complex healthcare systems. Dr. Khalid is currently serving as Chief Medical Officer of Altus Community Health and President of Austin Emergency Physicians. And a very unique thing about Dr. Khalid is that he's an ex-chair of emergency medicine department of AQ Aga Khan University, Aga Khan in Karachi, and clinical associate professor there as well. Something very unique in the experience that I personally want to learn more about. So that's with the introduction. Eamon, on to you, please.
So we're going to start we have divided our sessions into few parts. First, we're going to talk about what innovation they have created or what entrepreneur ship they're working on. And then we're going to talk about the inspiration and journey for the younger physicians who are inspired by them and who want to pursue the same path. And we also have a little bit discussion on AI on medicine. And then we will open it for questions from you guys. So please leave your questions in the chat. Whatever comes to your mind, even in the middle of the session, just type it. We are capturing everything. So before Adil starts with the questions, I first want to say thank you to our sponsor, Wall Street Alliance. It would not have been possible without their support. Thank you, Adil.
Awesome. So I'm going to start with my questions. Of course, we have divided into different aspects. I want to focus more on the entrepreneurial side of the business side. And my first question is to Dr. Hina. So, Dr. Hina, your journey, your entrepreneurial journey is very unique. As mashallah, you're an accomplished academician, and at the same time, you also create a novel product, which is very unique. So, could you please share your journey with the audience and what advice you would have for Dawites who are interested in pursuing this path, specifically our younger Dawites that are in academics, and they have a great idea and they want to explore. So, we would love to learn more from you, please.
Thank you, Adil. So I'll share my story of actually resilience and teamwork. As you have introduced me, thank you for that introduction. I'm Hina Faisal. I am actually anesthesiologist, critical care physician at Houston Methodist Hospital, and a director of surgical critical care research. So I would say my journey started from Dow Medical College. I actually wanted to be a surgeon. So after I graduated in 2004, I went to Ireland and I did my 2 years of basic surgical training in Ireland. And then during my training, actually, I got married. And then I moved to the United States because I wanted to be surgeon. So I thought only, okay, I just continue the same profession. So I came to the US and then I did surgical training at University of Medicine College of Chattanooga for 2.5 years. I think, but in my second year, I started to see a lot of patients who were critically ill, developing. I think, Adil, can you mute your mic, please? Thank you. So there I noticed a lot of delirium. And then I had one of my intensivists was from anesthesia background, and I saw his unique expertise that I was missing. So I decided to switch to anesthesia. And I switched to anesthesia, and then I moved to the program called Case Western University, Ohio. So in my third year of surgery residency, I talked to my program director, asked them that I want to do anesthesia, and then I moved to anesthesia residency in Ohio. And I knew that I wanted to be a surgery critical care physician only. So after finishing my training, my husband wanted me to move to Houston. So we came to Houston for my critical care fellowship at UT. I stayed as a faculty. And I found my passion when I was working as a first year of faculty at Houston Methodist Hospital. We were seeing lots and lots of delirium. We couldn't find any pharmacotherapy of management or anything that was working for our patients. So one day I was rounding with the residents and my students, and I told them, can you guys, like, when I go out, can you please reorient my patient? And then one of the medical students was from TAMU. So the TAMU, Texas A&M University, has a special program of medical training is called NMed. So they have 3 years of engineering degree and 3 years of medical degree, and they come out what they call medical scientist. So he was rounding with me. He said, Dr. Faisal, like, can you not work on some platform to give them cognitive stimulation? I said, oh, wow, that's a good idea. So that's where my journey started. Then, with the help of my student, and I created what we call cognitive stimulation VR platform. It's called Recognition VR. We applied for funding locally at the one of the big institute called Reliant Energy. It's electric energy institute. So they gave us a funding of, I would say, 100K, and then we were able to develop that software. So the next step was like, okay, how we need to test it. So to test it on the patients, we need team. Number one, team of people, team of researcher, team of coordinator. I was a clinician. I had no idea as a doc that what's the terminology of clinician scientist. So I ended up meeting a lot of people. Then I put my proposal on the paper and then started writing. I had no idea how to write at that time, like how to write scientifically, how to pitch the idea, what's impactful idea is. So I started to work on that, develop my mentorship team, develop a lot of connection in 2 years. I started to go to a lot of meetings. Then I ended up applying to the grant. I think in 2021, I applied to NIH to support my funding for the testing of my software on my patient. So NIH ended up giving me almost $1 million at that time for 2 years. And then we did phase 1 trial, developed a lot of mentors across United States, from Indiana University, from Vanderbilt University, develop a big collaborator team, develop a support system. Without support system, you can't learn. And then just remember, continue to work on your career development. So I ended up attending a lot of courses on the side. So I did clinical practice, continue to work on my education, continue to develop a team. And then we ended up testing this on our inpatients, patient population, yield some publications from it, and then apply for another grant because I think we need a bigger one because we want to test it for next 5 years. So then I applied to NIH. Once you have a track record, once you have mentor, collaborator, and have shown you can work on it, so then I ended up getting another, like I think 3 months ago, I ended up getting $1.2 million grant from NIH, and we are potentially getting another grant. I think it was going to be $1.6 million grant I think in next 3 months. So it's just my story is about resilience and teamwork and just never give up. So that's the lesson I have, Ayman and Adil, for our juniors. And then I have 2 seniors here, Dr. Khalid Siddiqui and Dr. Elias, who would share their experience of leadership that I think I would be requiring in the future. I hope my story will give some passion to people who are listening us. Thank you very much, Ayman. Over to you
This
guys.
this is so inspiring, mashallah. I'm just so impressed and inspired that we have so many brilliant Dawites here, and I would love to know more. We need to have more of these sessions and in-depth sessions, and this is very impressive. And thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure that we will have later especially junior, younger Dawites would have a lot of questions. With this, I'm gonna move on to the next question to Dr. Khalid Siddiqui. Dr. Khalid, mashallah, you have extensive experience in managing large clinical teams in both independent and now in the PE-backed healthcare systems. Uh, and in some context for our audience, these are complex, large teams of physicians and support staff. My question to you is that what advice would you give to Dawites and how to effectively manage their staff and healthcare teams in both healthcare startup context and the hospital setting? Please.
Thank you, Adil. And thank you, Hina, for the inspiring story. I am not a researcher. I am not in truly accommodation. I'm more of a people person. And I have managing teams in healthcare or any other field is about people and processes. When you're running a startup or you're managing a hospital department, you're dealing with individuals who are under stress. In healthcare,
Everybody's under stress. So you need to be really have clarity, you need to have respect, and you need to have purpose. In private equity, we really focus on financial metrics, but in independent or academic settings, it's all about culture and more personal relationships. You know, I would make it really brief. To me, the advice for us to become a leader, a successful leader, is communicate clearly, invest in relationships, balance business with humanity. I'll tell you what I mean communicate clearly. Physicians and staff need to know why behind what. And if a lot of us, we just focus, okay, can you do this? Can you do this? Why you did not do this? But unless we explain why we are doing something, it just really does not sink in. Invest in relationship. If your team trusts you, they will go above and beyond each and every time. Small acts of recognition, in day-to-day, in the hospitals and clinical settings or private equity, we forget to recognize people. A small, I keep a stack of thank you cards in my office. Anytime I look for a reason, I send that thank you cards, and you can see the look on your face, on the staff face. Right now I have, alhamdulillah, almost 1,500 people I'm managing, and trying to, I have my staff keep track of whose birthday is this day, whose anniversary is coming up, and we try to reach out to whether that's my ER tech or that's my director of physician affairs. They will hear from me on any and every special occasion. Balance your business with humanity. We keep track of KPIs. KPIs is what we live by, but never lose sight that people have, you control people's health, their careers is in your hand. And if you overlook that part, you're going to impact a lot of lives negatively. So always think about it every night before you go to bed. Hey, whose life you made a difference in? I think at the end of the day, people don't follow titles, they follow leaders. And I'm sure you have heard people don't leave jobs because they're not getting paid enough. They leave jobs because they don't have a good leader. So that's in a nutshell how to manage people in healthcare.
This is such a wonderful advice, Dr. Khalid, and absolutely, I can completely relate to that. It's all about relationships in the end, whether it's business or something else, everything else in life turns out to be, essentially at the human level, how we connect. And it resonates so much with me. To this day, I send like handwritten thank you cards, and sometimes people like, that. So I really, what you just said right now really resonates with me. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's a very good advice, especially our younger Dawites. I know that level of connection that's very important. Thank you for sharing that. With this, I'm gonna move on to our next panelist, Dr. Ilyas. So, Dr. Ilyas, I have so Marcella, you have so much experience, such extensive experience in building both a successful practice, which is patient facing, um, and as well as a healthcare startup. So especially specifically for you, what advice you give our Dawites interested in starting their own practices? And this is very important point, and I'm a big proponent of physician independence. I feel that there is this almost like a perception and myth out there in a way that it's very difficult to start your own practice. And mashallah, you have done it so successfully. So I would love to hear your advice. Please, Dr. Ilyas.
Sure, yeah. I think I can share what I understood and what I thought right from the get going. Initially, like we all came, like जैसे फैज साहब ने कहा था कि इस राह में जो सब पे गुजरती है वो गुजरी, right? So after all the J1 and everything, we um, right from the first day, I wanted to have my own business, so to say. Yeah. I think the barrier among most of us is the fear that prevent us from taking risk. And we think, I mean, we have reasons, and all of us have reasons and all that. But I mean, I would suggest or advise to read Nassim Taleb, one of the economists. You know, that anti-fragility, right? Most of us maybe, but that's something he kind of translated exactly what I feel. He regarded monthly salary as one of the three most addictive problems, along with heroin and carbs, right? So I think out of three, two can be very addictive for us, very relevant here. So that's what happened. Monthly salary give us this false sense of protection. So if we can get over that, if we believe that risk is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is not dependent on a solid job or something like that. So what happened if you go on your own? Two things happen. Number one is freedom, right? And the freedom and the thing is the options that we get after that. So in a way, like, and it's not that salary or job thing is a bad thing and nobody should do that. I mean, my colleagues here made huge success while working in an organization where some sort of confinement and conformation is there. So there's the value of entrepreneurial thing also. I mean, one can do that. But the thing is, letting go of monthly salary is the number one thing that we should understand that. And if we can do that, we can go on, we take risk, creativity, all those aspects. So what happened is when we expose ourselves to something like that, it's a stress, right? I mean, it's a stress in a way to letting go of your solid salary and all that. But that's how we grow. I mean, look at exercise. When we go to gym and we have to lift those heavy weights, it's a stress on the muscles, right? Nobody wants to do that, but it's needed to grow, right? When we give vaccine to people, it's a stress. I mean, we are injecting those little bit of a virus, but that's how the immunity builds. So that's, I would say that if we go for this little bit of stress, our immunity get improved and we can grow, we can, not only creativity, we will become problem solvers. So one thing this kind of entrepreneurship teach you is to find problems or gaps, as we call it, and then try to find the solutions. And this is something like, Alhamdulillah, most of us are here, I'm sure most of the audience have done it, they're successful and all that. But think about it, what are we giving back to the institution, right? Not only Dow institution, but to our whole industry of medicine or people. So I think that is important after we have kind of covered all the bases.
This is such a wonderful, Dr. Elias, that about at risk. And so I started my practice right after training, and I can relate to that. What the worst can happen? You fail. So that's that you learn. So I know that our Dawites would have a lot of questions, specific questions. I hope we had like a bit extended session next time. And but taking the first leap, I think that becomes a bigger step, and then the things become, there are challenges, but then we move on. With this, moving on the theme. So Eamon, back to you for the next set of questions, please.
So yeah, I have questions for all three of you specific. First, I would like to ask Hina, such an inspiring journey, mashallah, so impressive. Being a young woman physician and being co-founder of a couple of businesses with my husband, I had his support. So I know it was easy for me to navigate things. But I want to understand, and I'm sure all the young physicians want to know, Hina, being a young physician, and a woman physician, I would say, being a woman physician, how tough was it for you entering this tech health startup? And how did you overcome it? And what would you recommend other women and girls around us?
So very, very good question. I think you have heard like every man has a success. I mean, every man's success has a woman behind it. In my case, it was actually always men. My dad was very supportive when I was in Pakistan doing my medical school. He was like a champion, and he advocated that I should go abroad for my higher training. So I had that man in my life who unfortunately passed away very early. He was not able to see my success. And I followed my dad's legacy. Then my brother took over in, like, I would say my dad passed away in my second year of my med school. So then my brother he advocated for every single thing. I mean, I belong to a Sayyid family, and people who are in this podium can realize how hard is it for a woman from Sayyid family background to go abroad independently and do all those electives. So I think you need to have a support system to begin with. And I think as a woman, I feel we should start encouraging our girls to start asking for that and look for at least one or two support system from the time when they go to the medical school, and they realize very early. So, and then obviously I got married. So my husband has been very, very supportive. Um, when it was like, I would say, when I met him, I was very clear. I told him what I want from him, from our life, and I'm looking for a partner. So I was very upfront. I told him I'm a very career-oriented woman. Despite I told him, but I think the way that I was, I think I'm 10% of that now, because life changes. And be flexible, be very, very honest to yourself. I'll tell you the most important thing that we do not learn: be honest to yourself and be flexible. And I would say in every failure that I had, Amen, there was a step towards a success, which I did not realize very early. And a small fail, as long as it's not fatal failure, like my dad passed away, that was my biggest failure, because he did not see me growing. So small failures are always encouraged if you're planning to move towards the ladder of leadership. So that's one success. Then be open, be honest. I have two children. My firstborn was before my residency. He's 15-year-old. And my daughter, who's 9-year-old, she was born in my final year of my residency. So, so setting expectation. Don't be like, champion mom. If you think you need to take a break, take a break. Please take a break. Just do not burn yourself and just all of a sudden quit. Do very slow, small steps. Start from you, from your family, and then just move on. And then on the top, I would say build a network. So I have a groups of friends, like, I have very casual friends. I have very close friends. I have a friend, like one or two, that I can share anything. I can open my heart in front of them. So that's the way I do. The same rule I apply at work. You need to have a support system. Make sure that you have a good connection with your chair, with the directors. And then just remember, keep moving. For me, the biggest challenge was when I started as a private practice practitioner for 6 months. It was not satisfying me. I knew that this is not my field. And I think Dr. Elias and Dr. Khalid can tell you more. So I knew that what I want. So you need to know what you want. Just be truthful to you and your family. And I promise Allah will support you. At the end of the day, God has decided something best for you because He loves you more than your mom. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So inspiring. And I'm sure all the women attending this webinar right now would be so inspired to listen to your story. Moving forward, I would like to ask Dr. Khalid Siddiqui. I understand your business. Adil understands it well. I think some of the friends know, but I would like young physicians to understand what exactly you guys do, because I want people to get the message of what a wonderful work you're doing. And I want you to define us what differences, because you have business here and US, in US and in Pakistan and globally. What difference did you find or experience in opportunities for physicians to start a business here or innovate as compared to somewhere else or in Pakistan? And what young doctors can learn from these global models?
So thank you, for that question. And interestingly, I have this unique experience. All of us who come here always have in the back of our hearts, okay, we want to go serve our mother country at one time or the other. And I always had that feeling. I thought about it multiple times, but then finally in 2023, I decided to move to AKU and was heading the Department of Emergency Medicine for almost 2 years. And that really gave me a very different experience. And I'll tell you the differences I see between here and in Pakistan and how we can bridge that gap. And so, in terms of what I do, I'm in right now based in Houston, and we are a private equity based company. I have 31 freestanding ERs across the state of Texas. And for people who may not know what a freestanding ER is, it's a complete ER. We provide everything you have in a big box ER, but we are not attached to a hospital. I also have what I call micro hospitals. We have 5 micro hospitals across Texas, and these are, for some people it will be strange to know you can create a hospital in US which is 4 bed or 6 bed hospital. So in remote areas, you create these small hospitals and you have connections with the big hospitals. Patients come to your ER, you get them admitted for basic care, and then you can transfer them. And this is a huge business. Anybody wants to get into this business, there's a lot of opportunities in that business. I'll be happy to walk people through this, how they do it. And you can, freestanding independent ER is only 5 states in the country where you can do it, but micro hospital, you can do it in all 51 hospital states. So that's a great opportunity for new Dawites coming into business and want to learn about it. I'll be happy to walk them through. So, and the difference between US and in Pakistan, from my standpoint, physicians in US are really encouraged to be part of innovation, whether they're leading research like Hina is doing, or innovation in practices like Elias is doing, or joining venture-backed startups like I'm doing. But in Pakistan, obviously, right, still we are thinking traditional paths for the physicians. Either you're a clinical worker or you're in academic, or the third option is move abroad, come to US, go to Middle East, or go to Europe. But in my experience with AKU over the last 2 years, things are changing in Pakistan. Telemedicine, health tech, private initiatives are creating opportunities for entrepreneurship for physicians in Pakistan. Young Pakistani physicians should be learning from the global models and don't wait for a perfect system. Create a system for yourself. The biggest thing which I heard when I was in Pakistan from everyone I talked to, they said, Doc Saab, why you are back? We don't have a system. You're going to fail. And to be honest with you, what I did in 2 years in AKU, the president of AKU still tells me doctors here have not done in 15 years. I opened up the first freestanding ER in Clifton. This was the first freestanding ER in whole Southeast Asia. And, there are red tapes, there are issues, bureaucracy in AKU is, I think, worse than in Sin government. But you got to be resilient. You got to be defined, and you got to be, understanding of your concept, what you want to do, and then just what Hina was saying, that she went and created connections with so many people in the years she was building her software. In 2 years, Now I can call a federal minister. They are on my speed dial. Provincial ministers. I went to everybody and anybody who I could go in AKU or outside AKU. Try to create. I was in the process of creating. And unfortunately, I came back. In Pakistan, there is no concept of transfer centers. Here we need to transfer one patient from one place to the other. I was creating the same concept because the first shift I was working, I was seeing a patient. There was a child who was sick and AKU had no beds. My intern gave a discharge summary to this patient's father and said, "Oh, go find yourself a bed." And I looked at her and I said, "What are you doing? Call somebody and arrange the transfer." She said, "Sir, we don't do that. Just we give it." And this guy was from Balochistan. He don't know anything about Karachi. And internally, we created a network with 8 or 9 different hospitals. It created a transfer process, but I reached out to Sindh government and we were trying to create the transfer center where we have options on knowing where open beds are in each facility. So, just keep consistent, keep working, and try to come up with the ideas and make sure you deliver.
This was so inspiring journey. I'm 100% sure all the young physicians are going to benefit from this. And thank you for the great work you're doing globally. So next, my question is to Dr. Ilyas Yamani. With so many ventures you're doing, it's not just one lifestyle prescription, then Dawn Health, your own practice. Um, the first thing I think, just sabse pehla, I also developed a practice. My first like scary thing was, do I have to learn, do I have to do a business like MBA degree to do a business? Like, because being a primary care and doing a business, like, it's a completely different ballgame. How do young physicians take that first step? And also, what was your first spark that made you realize that, okay, we have to go beyond clinical medicine into the entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I think the first thing was that, which I mentioned a little bit about, that, having something, I didn't want it to have a salaried position or work for something. I mean, that was my first sort of a motivation, you can call it. I mean, it's not the attraction, it's kind of, I didn't want it to get involved in that kind of a conform area of, where you lose your freedom and you lose, I think a lot of things is your creativity and all that. So it wasn't like evident to me initially. Like it wasn't like that I knew my path and then I started something like that, right? I mean, I learned, with failures like everybody else, is saying. But initially, it was self-interest. I would just plainly say that. I mean, it was, I think everything we do is at the end of the day self-interest. I mean, I know we blame it to altruism, and it's a very sexy term to use, but at the end of the day, it's all, I mean, we need to accept that this is self-interest, whatever we are doing. But the beauty of it is that while we are working in self-interest, compassion is the key, right? So that's how you don't harm people, like Khalid Bhai was describing, that how to manage people in practice, physicians in practice. Through compassion, he used the word humanity. But basically, so what happened is, um, you started with self-interest. I mean, look at your interest and your growth. It's not about what you're gonna make, quote unquote, financially. It's what you're gonna become, what you become in doing that. And that's how I took it. So when I started my practice and all that, at that time, then I realized that I don't know anything about how to manage physicians, right? So then I joined ACPE. At that time, it was ACPE, Executive ACP thing. And then through that, I went to Carnegie Mellon. I learned physician and management, whole masters there. And then later on, similarly, when I was doing my risk business and I was taking financial risk on Medicare lives, I realized that we are not doing anything to change their chronic disease risk. And that's how I entered from the back door, because I get to see a part of it that what do we do, we see numbers, we see the cost of care. So, when the reports come in front of me and I see the waste that we have, tremendous waste in our healthcare system, that was so painful that at that time I realized, okay, how to minimize that waste there. And then it was all about, 50% of our ER visits are based on anxiety and fear and all that. And because there's no care coordination, the patient doesn't have someone who can put the hand on the shoulder and say, you know what, it's going to be okay. Let me take care of you right here. So that reduces the cost. And then, I joined Harvard for care coordination, and we did research and, and mix value-based care with that. So, we ended up, like, I manage more than 70,000 lives in Central Florida, part of the Access Health thing. And we do through population management and all that. And obviously we have a staff model, and just like a deal, we built companies and sold it and all that. So things that start to come, but the spark was self-interest. Ask yourself what you really want to become. It's not what you want to do, what you want to become. And that's the life worth living, I think.
Thank you so much. And like Adil said before, I'm so glad we were able to bring you guys here so you can share your journey and your stories, and people should know what wonderful things Dowards are doing. So next is I'm gonna give the lead to Adil, and he has some questions.
Sure. Thank you, Eamon. So our next section is on the couple of questions on the AI. And of course, this is such a big topic. And I'm so excited about it myself. I have like several startups in that same space. And I have a question to both Dr. Khalid and Dr. Ilyas. So what's your perspective is how AI is changing the way we practice medicine? And what role AI will play in clinical decision making in the next 5 years? Of course, this is a very broad question, and we'll need like hours of discussion specific for that topic. But if you just perhaps in your opinion, your perspective on 1 point or 2 points that would be the most important things in the next 5 years in that domain that we can discuss briefly right now, please.
I'll let Khalid, you want to go first?
Sure, sure. So, Elias, before I talk about AI, I want to be transparent that my patient model is completely opposite to what you're trying to do. You're trying to keep patient out of the ER. I'm trying to bring them in ER.
I
So
know.
there
I
is
call it
all,
heads in the bed.
yeah, you call it heads in the bed,
That's
but
your
I
model,
am,
heads in the bed. And I don't want, we don't want
yeah,
patients to go to the hospital. But I like your
yeah, and
micro hospital idea. I mean, that if it is in my area, I would always use it because I know the cost will be much, much lower for micro hospital than the mega hospitals like Advent and all that kind of thing.
absolutely, Elias, we can talk offline and I can bring a few in
Yeah, that's
your
right.
service area.
In the
Absolutely.
hospital. Dr. Elias and Dr. Khalid,
Actually,
I want everybody in the hospital actually because I work in the hospital.
I know. I'm
that's
sorry,
right. That's
man.
right. That's what
You're
I
not
want
getting out of
everybody in the
it.
ER, and Elias wants to keep them out of the ER, and you want them in the hospital. So, from an AI standpoint, coming to Eamon's question, for people to know AI, so I got interested in AI uh, in the last year, and for just transparency, I'm on the advisory board of two AI companies, startups, one in Silicon Valley, one in Boston area. So I'm really intimately involved, and I'm working with these companies to develop the new products. To be honest with you, all these AI companies, which started by the programmers and the engineers and IT people, they think they know everything, but they really need us. So I will encourage our alumni to get engaged with these companies because you can really help build these products in a practical standpoint, in a clinical standpoint, and get into these companies, become the board member, become a shareholder. This is what I feel AI, and this is just on the side note, will make more millionaires in the next 2 years than anyone else have seen before. So get on this wagon.
So
So
my
from AI,
no, go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were done. So go ahead.
No. So now, this was just a side note I wanted to, but from a, way I see AI in healthcare, I think it will be a silent partner in the room. It's not going to replace any doctors, so please don't feel insecure. They will help you make decisions faster. It will help you make more accurate decisions. And, in next few years, they will become your stethoscope or your EKG machine. They will help you, AI will help you review labs, imaging, and charts and flag high risk patients earlier. You will reduce your administrative burden. You will not be sitting in front of the computer looking at the labs or doing your documentation, doing your discharge summaries. It will become a diagnostic accuracy will go up. AI will create probability-based differentials, and you will just have to go through the differential. So in my mind, AI will be augmenting our practices, making us much more efficient. And, I'm talking to the doctors and they're worried, and I tell them, hey, how many patients do you see in a day these days? They say, oh, 20, 25. I said, implement AI, you're going to see 35 patients without breaking a sweat. So that's how I see AI in the healthcare future. Elias?
Yeah, Hina wants to say something. Maybe we want to hear that.
I can add later on, Dr. Ilyas, you can talk about it, and then I will add my important points as an
Yeah,
anesthesiologist.
sure. So from my point of view in value-based care and lifestyle medicine, so we actually at LPU are working on an agent that will work with doctors. So there are two ways we are implementing agents in that. So as we little bit touched on that subject in value-based care, where we actually predictive analytics is a huge part of it. We want to know that in next 30 days to 90 days, which of our patients will go into congestive heart failure and hospitalization or COPD exacerbation type of thing. So, those are the top few admissions and all that. So now we have the way, we already have, gradation of those patients, and we know high risk, high cost patients and all that. So AI is really helping us in identifying those patients. So we do preemptively, we bring them into the offices, and we actually making sure they're compliant to their medications and all that. So that detail is different, but AI would work with predictive analytics and all that. But in lifestyle medicine, so we have with each physician that we are assigning, when the doctors start to work with us, we assign these AI agents with them. So the reminders of their daily routine, they're helping on the informations, and what it is doing for us, that it is bringing those risks for that one particular patient. So what happened when we go right now online or something, wanted to know about our non-alcoholic fatty liver or insulin resistance, this is very non-specific information we get. AI will give you according to that patient, because they have the access to the EMR and all that. So yeah, and we will reduce a lot of consultant fees, because now we will have agents, cardiovascular, oncology, GI, all these agents will be working with that. So I think the part of it is to, few things that we need to do now is to really learn the tools instead of like worrying about it, whether it's going to take our jobs. I don't think so, because human connection, like we are all been discussing, it is the skill that we need to learn more, and we will work with, with AI, but learning the tools, not like just one chat GPT, but different aspect of the tool, and different tools will work in different way. So I think we need to actually accept that and go into deep into it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ilyas. With that, I'm going to move on to Dr. Hina. And Dr. Hina, please share your perspective. And then just a quick reminder, we have roughly 10 minutes left. And every word of all our panelists is so precious. We don't learn so much from everyone. But we also have quite a few questions in the Q&A. So please, Dr. Hina, please share your perspective. Then we can move on to Q&A as well. Thank you.
So I'll be very brief. I will second Dr. Elias, but I would say in the digital preventive and therapeutic world, AI is going to change a lot of things. In my opinion, we're already using a lot of AI tools because when I work in the operating rooms, I heavily rely on prediction models. Same for the ICU. I think AI would have a lot of role in the hospital setting and acute setting because having those scores, I can preempt things like, for example, my AI tools currently tells me this patient is going to be hypotensive in next 10 minutes. Do you want to do something? And imagine in the operating room when patient is under anesthesia, if someone is giving me this message right away, this patient's hemodynamics tell me that he's going to be hypotensive in 10 minutes, what you're going to be. So I want to make sure the propofol is down. I'm going to make sure that my anesthesia is down. And same thing is like, oh, right now patient is in sepsis, but in next 15 minutes, he's going to be in septic shock. Do you want to do anything? So instead of like waiting for the nurses to bring vasopressors, I preempt them. So I totally agree with the Dr. Elias. Actually, it's going to augment. I think it's going to make us very, very preemptive. Doctors are not preemptive. I think doctors needs to be preemptive and pay attention. I think it will let us pay more attention to the patient and will make us more safe doctor. I totally agree. They're not going to replace it, but I think they're going to help us. And I think we should encourage our juniors to start involving in these algorithm, protocols, physics they are using to change the algorithm. I hope that answer your question.
Wonderful. This is such a comprehensive and such a concise answer. Thank you so much, Dr. Hina. It's wonderful. With this, I'm gonna move on to the first question in the Q&A. We have Dr. Adil Siddiqui, and he asked, "What are ways to start a private setup for hospitalists?" And our panelist, perhaps Dr. Khalid, since you have the most experience in this area, would you like to take the lead?
So starting a hospitalist group in a hospital again, it so there are different ways. So you creating your company, creating the back office, creating the setup. But if you are a group of 3 or 4 or 5 physicians, get together, create what they call professional limited license, company, PLLC. In most of the states, not 100%, there's what we call non-corporate practice of medicine. So you cannot go and create a LLC or create a company and then say, okay, I'm going to practice medicine. You must have seen none of the hospitals, when even though they're employing all these physicians, but they're employing this physician through a different entity. Methodist, I'm sure Hina is employed, if she looks at her contract, through a PLLC, through a physician employment. And then there is a connection between a parent company. For me, I have an Altus parent company, and then I have multiple PLLCs for recruiting physicians. So you need to create those to get together, and then you need to obviously start marketing yourself. You need to look at the hospitals, big hospitals nowadays. Okay, they're Team Health of the world or Envisions of the world who have big contract. They go in, but small hospitals, there are a lot of options available for you guys, for anybody who wants to start. There in the small hospitals, a lot of us who have done locum job or locum, they feel, oh, I have to go through this locum company, that locum company. A lot of people don't know we can create our own locum company and be the hospitalist locum company for most of the rural Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona, everywhere. So you can create 1-person locum company, you can create 5-person locum company, and that $50 per hour, which is this locum company is taking on top of you providing the services, you can keep that. So this is a very long answer for creating the structure. So I just want to not take away a lot of time, and whoever wants to know can reach out to me directly, and I'll be happy to answer and walk them through. And I will take this opportunity, Adil, also to mention, from this forum, to be honest, I would want to adopt 2 or 3 or 4 people who wants to have access to any of us mentors, because when I started this journey, I had a mentor.
Oh,
Like Elias says, he did not know everything the day he started the company. So if you guys want to connect to us, I would be happy to adopt 2 or 3 young Dawites who wants to pursue career in administration, professionalism, start a business, and we can meet once a month, once a quarter, or have my phone number and reach out to me at any time for any questions.
so we have another question. Thank you so much, Dr. Khalid, for your mentorship help. And people can reach out to info@dogana.org, or you can reach out to any of us if you have contacts, or the president, because this is a presidential initiative. Uh, and we can connect you to any of the panelists today. Next question is, people want to know, especially I would like to, because of the amount of grants that Hina has that was telling me about, so impressive. And then Dr. Yamani, both of you can take turns and let us know how to attract the investors. That's what a lot of people want to know. Yeah, so please go ahead.
So I would say not attract the investors. If we are talking about the junior doctors, I think even volunteer programs, in the volunteer programs, you can create an idea, find a mentor, tell them that you want to present that your idea or pitch your idea in a meeting, and you will find someone. If they like your idea, they will reach out to you. Frankly speaking, they will. They will. But you just need to come up with something and start pitching your ideas in a meetings or conference, I would say.
Okay, Dr. Yamani.
So yeah, so from my side of the world, people who give you money are either your friends or your family. That's how you start. So number one thing, because if your loved one, close one, friends, if they don't believe in you, I don't think so, other investors would do. So, I think different stages and all that, investors like to know the story and the team. If I have to invest some, now in some project or startup, I want to know who's doing it, number one. Number two, how much dedication you have, right? If someone come to me and say that, I have this hospitalist job, I do 12 hours, 3 shifts a week, and then I want to start my own business, I'm not going to give money to that person because that person is not even working for where he believes is and all that. So someone like that. So if you want to really attract the investors, you have to be like in it, like in and out completely 100%. You breathe, you eat, you sleep your company, and then you're going to find. So next level is angel investors in every area. If you go to your public library area, you're going to find the investors group and all that. So they start small, lower amount of investments come through the angel investors and all that. And then mostly your stakeholders, you have to find out who are the stakeholders in the problem that you're solving, right? So for example, with me, when the risk and the financial risk on these, because of the burden of the disease was there, I looked at it that who are the stakeholder, who is actually uh, this kind of patient who costing money to whom, what authority. So you understand that, and proximity is power. proximity is power. Find the people of money with money and make friends with them. That's how you. So networking is important. Joining conference is important, and find the people of money, make friends with them, and that's how you know accumulate wealth. Thank you.
Thank you so much for these words of wisdom from all three of you. And we have a couple more questions, one from Dr. Motan and Dr. Masood. We are going to reply you privately, separately, because we are already above time. So we'll get back to you. We are not going to leave your questions unanswered. Thank you to the distinguished panelists for sharing your experience with the young physicians and with everyone, whoever wants to enter this journey, and to the audience for being so engaging and for a great turnout. We are also going to share the recording online, so you can watch it later if you were not able to watch it for some reason. And then I would like to thank the president of Dogana, Dr. Amir Hassan, for this initiative. This is going to go a long way, and this is very helpful for everyone. Last but not least, again, I would thank our sponsor, Wall Street Alliance. And thank you for taking this first step, Dogana, towards this first step into innovation. And thanks from me, and I would like Adil to thank, and then we say bye.
Thank you so much, Ayman. Thank you, everyone. And this is, I would say, the spirit of Dawah at its best. What Dr. Khalid Siddiqui said, the offer for mentorship, everyone getting together, seniors mentoring junior Dawah, it is such a good feeling. And I hope, inshallah, this feeling of aspiration, this feeling of positivity continues. And we have this culture of helping each other and together as, Dawah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.